Good evening, I'm Shamesa Rahman and you're watching an exclusive transmission from PTV World, actually celebrating International Women's Day. The role of women in Pakistan in various fields is becoming increasingly more important as women get more involved in the workforce. But one of the areas that I particularly find interesting, and I'm sure all of you do as well, is the role of women in politics. They have made huge strides. There is a lot that has been accomplished and there is a lot that needs to be done. We will be discussing that today in our studio, and we're also very grateful for the students of Islamic University who've taken up the time and joined us. Let me introduce you to our panel, the Powerful Women in Politics. We are joined today by Senator Sitara Ayaz. Assalamu alaikum ji, thank you very much for taking out the time. We're joined by Senator Nuzhat Sadek. Assalamu alaikum ji, thank you very much. And we are joined by our younger generation of female politicians who are quite dynamic and making their voices heard very eloquently across the board. We're joined by Maiza Hamid. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much. And we're joined by Nida Khoro. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you. So I'd like to start off with our senior women in politics, because let's start off with this. You know, when we talk about women in politics, and I'm going to ask both of you the same question, quite evidently it is easier now than it was in the past. And it was harder then. And I'd like to know from both of you, how accommodating were each of your respective political parties when you started off in politics? Senator?
Well, let me tell you that the trend in Pakistan is normally that it's mostly like you must be having some political background and all these. I don't have any political background.
Okay.
I started from scratch, I must say, that I started from a district council and I elected as a district councillor during President Musharraf's time. And then I started all the parties, and then I joined Awami National Party. That is a party which is very much, we don't have any women wing, because they believe that all are same. Men and women, they are same. So we don't have any women wing in our party.
Okay.
So this shows that how importance they are giving to women. So we are, when there is intra-party elections, we are all contest, like women and men all contest.
So you're saying you particularly found it a little easier because of the party that you chose to affiliate with?
Yes, because it is very much, and the founder of the party, Bacha Khan, he was that what his thinking is still in the party, that women are not, and they should not be separate from men. If you want to go, if you want to develop or progress, then you need women to be there. So for me, it was very accommodating, and the atmosphere in the party was totally political, more no personal things there. So it was very accommodating.
So it was relatively easier. What about you, Senator Nuzhat? Was it equally as easy for you?
Thank you so much, Shamesa. I think it was a challenge.
It was a challenge?
Yes, it's
well,
a challenge.
You're being honest.
I think because it is a challenge for women in politics, and but I think a lot of work has been done by our predecessors, and they've made space also. And I think gradually it's changing also. I joined politics like around in 1992, and this is the party PMLN that I chose. But my background is political.
Okay.
My father-in-law was in politics. And Quaid-e-Azam, he used to say that in Amritsar, when they were there in India, Quaid-e-Azam used to come and stay at our house at that time.
Okay.
And so that connection was there. My mother-in-law was in politics. So
okay, it was something that was acceptable
yes,
and encouraged.
But then, let me tell you, I had to work hard. Whatever I did, I think like Sitara said, I did my homework and my groundwork, and at grassroots level, I started doing that. I was doing social work, and I was given the assignment of Khidmat committees, if you remember, at that time. But I put in an effort, whichever position was given.
So you're saying you had an advantage, but
yes,
you still had to put in the hours that were required.
And I loved my work. I still do. So I feel that they are very bright girls sitting there. this is something for them.
No, this is,
You know,
because I always tell young
yes,
girls,
because we need
follow
to
your passion. If your
absolutely.
passion becomes your livelihood, my
Yes.
God, you've got
yes,
it made.
Yes, you've got it made. But you have to love what you do. You know, they love your work, and then sky is the limit. You will get to where you want to be, but inshallah, but put in hard work, and that's a must.
Okay, and I'll come to you, Maiza, and to you, Nida. My question to both of you would be, you know, you're both politicians, and at the same time, you have other responsibilities. You have children, you have homes to run. Unfortunately, men are never asked this question. You know, how do you manage both? And women seem to be asked that question, especially over here. And the reason why I'm asking it is because, you know, it's a little harder when your family is still at a younger age. So how do you put in the hours that are required the way men do? Because you have to put them in to get further ahead. Or is it tough? Maiza?
First of all, thank you for inviting me to such an August gathering also,
You're
because
very
of the
welcome.
students all. And we seek our inspiration from these students, particularly in this age of social media and media. I think that, you know, you're talking about multitasking. And I think,
Multitasking.
yes, and I think it's part of our lives now. Because when I joined politics, I was not even married. And a transition from being unmarried to married, and then my husband had to adjust accordingly. So it was a.
I like the fact that you said my husband had to adjust. I mean, good for him that he actually, because most men will not do that. And I think it takes a very strong man, and a stronger man actually, to be accommodating.
Actually, the men in my life have been very accommodating, in the sense that my father, when he brought me into politics, he was extremely supportive of me getting into politics, and he didn't actually differentiate between a man and a woman. Although we are from a family which is from South Punjab, and we are from a family which is more of a landlord kind of family. So, but I fortunately, Shumesa, I felt that, you know, if in my own area, that's the end of South Punjab, Rahimia Khan, and I feel that there was more encouragement from the locals there.
Okay.
When I joined politics, that they really believed that, you know, I could deliver more than men could, and that was quite encouraging, and that kept me going on. And then my leadership also, they believed in hard work, they acknowledged hard work. So the more you get encouraged, the more you work. So I feel that, you know, the masses, particularly in politics, if they acknowledge you, they appreciate you, and your leadership appreciates you and acknowledges you, particularly being a woman, it makes a huge difference.
Okay, Nida, what about you? Do you feel that, I think that sometimes women not only have to put in the same number of hours, but, you know, more hours than men generally do?
Thank you, Shumesa, for inviting me on your show. Like you said, the women put in more hours. I think women are more multitasking at any point of the day as compared to men. And you see, my father always encouraged us, all three daughters, to constantly work. He kept on saying, an idle mind is a devil's mind. So on that stance, I have always been working. Before getting married also, and even after marriage I have been working. And my entry into politics, again, I entered as a district council member. Okay, my family is very political, and my political joining as an MPA has been very, it's been supported by my husband and my father. They've been very encouraging, and they've helped me out at every step in life. And I think women have the capability to work more hours without complaining and still managing to make all ends meet, whether it's family-wise, household-wise, or work-wise. I think we do have that capability in us, that we manage things in a very easy and smooth flow-wise.
Okay. Another question I'd like to ask you, Senator Sitara, is if we look at the legislation that has been done over the last, not just 5 years, but 10 years, a lot of legislation has been done on women's rights. How much of that was actually because there were women inside, you know, our assemblies pushing for it? And how much of that is actually that everybody was on board?
Well, I think that it's
Because
very...
from what I've heard, it's actually women who
Yes.
got together across party
Yes.
lines and said, we can do this together for the betterment of all women.
Yes, this is very encouraging actually when the women are in the, now in the parliament, because they know their problems, they know what they are going through, what the women are going through, and some of the legislation where women women worked on that was across the party. It was nothing political or nothing. So I must say that when the women are now in the assemblies, they are playing a very, very important role. And I must say that it's not only the legislation only for women. Actually, the women, they are doing a lot of legislation. If you take the back in 10, 15 years, maybe 15 years of assembly businesses, you can find many legislation which or bills or resolutions or motions brought by
That women have tabled. So women are actually more active.
Women are very active. If you see their attendance, you can see they are very punctual. They are coming. They are taking interest. They are. I'm seriously, if it's my choice, like not as a woman, but I must say that the women should join politics and they should come up with, there should be more women in parliament. Now we have very few. Still, I feel it is encouraging.
Well, I think it is few because we are 50% of the population.
And we need more women. Actually, the young girls are,
52% of the population.
Yes, the young girls are here, and actually, I personally, after all these, I spent 5 years in province also. I feel that now women should go for a general election. As Maiza said, that the people, they believe more on women because women are dedicated. Senator Nuzhat said that she loves her work.
She loves it. She said she's
So
passionate
if
about
when
it.
you love your work, you can deliver more to the general masses. So people are more happy than... and I saw some women now in the National Assemblies, they are elected. So we are encouraging more women to be elected.
Okay,
To come
I'm
as
glad
a
you
true
raised
general
that point as well, Senator Nuzhat. Women do come on reserve seats, but a lot of women do contest elections independently, and they are given quite a warm response. And aside from that, they do manage to garner quite a few votes and come in. So, how can parties encourage women to, encourage them, facilitate them, finance them to contest elections independently?
I think there should be a mechanism in the parties also to help women, but the financial support is not there because it's not an easy task to do.
Okay.
And resources do matter because women are in politics, they need to spend money on in the constituency and all. But we see a number of women, and the number is increasing now. And we also have, if Sitara can help me out on this, I think there's a quota, 5% that we have to give seats to women in the general seat. So that's also making a difference now. So women are asking for tickets now. So we see the change is coming in, and it's a positive change. We would like to see, as Sitara said, that we would like to see more young women, and 60% of the population that's coming up is youth in Pakistan.
Out of which 52%, I was thinking 50, Maiza pointed.
No, 60% of the
52%
youth
are women.
Yeah.
I'm saying out of that
Yes,
60%.
yes. So
are
we see
women.
a lot of women here.
Like these
so
girls right
yeah,
here.
they're the future. And so we have high expectations, and I'm very, very happy to see the youth there because they are very promising. And I feel that the upcoming youth is more focused also. So Pakistan, inshallah, will be in better hands.
In better hands,
Yes,
with more
inshallah.
women in power. Maiza, tell me this. You said that in your constituency, you genuinely felt that when you went out to contest the election, that people actually welcomed you. They were happier, to see a woman coming out there and representing them. Is that the case generally, you would say, across the board?
I think there's this general conception that, if you're from a rural area rather than an urban area, you will get,
It's harder.
There'll be a lot of problems as far as, if you're going on the streets, if you're meeting the people, if you're meeting women, and, but contrary to my belief, when I actually started working at the grassroots level, I felt that they were more encouraging. The men were more encouraging. They were more, hopeful that there's a new person coming in. There's a new and they felt that women are more committed to their work.
Do you feel they also feel that women deliver more for their constituencies?
Actually, women take their promises seriously, and the difference between elected and reserved thing. I don't believe in it actually, because I believe that every election that happens, we are there for all these men who get elected. So every election, we are there. We engage the women. We do the campaign. So
Right.
all the homework behind. I mean, as you say, behind every successful man there's a woman. It is actually true in politics. So I believe that if the whole of Pakistan is our constituency, so I don't think we should differentiate between.
I don't think we should
reserved and
differentiate.
general seats.
No, I don't think. I think it's important to actually have reserved seats right now, because otherwise it would have been very difficult for women to actually make this
Can I just
ingress.
intervene
Yes,
here?
please.
Just when Maiza said that behind every successful man is a woman, I don't agree with that. I say in front of every successful man is a woman pulling him. So let's do that.
Okay, coming to you, Nida, tell me this. You're now in the Sindh Assembly, and generally when we watch TV and we're watching the Sindh Assembly, we see a lot of ruckus and a lot of noise going on, and it's a very fiercely, heavily contested debates, which can get personal sometimes. And when they get personal, I generally see the men across the board making personal comments about women, derogatory. How do you people deal with that? Because I think.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Shamesa, okay, this is my first time in the parliament, all right, as I've entered. And yes, there is a lot of ruckus. But then, who is the ruckus created by? On what basis is the ruckus created by? You have to look into all these matters, all these things. We are there in the government, and the government means business. We need to carry our business forward. Now, if the opposition is trying to play games and create hurdles and hassles, we need to still deal with those issues.
No, I understand that. I'm not saying that it's the opposition at fault or the government at fault. And I'm saying, of course, there are issues that are heavily debated and contested, but not just for the Sindh Assembly, but for other assemblies. I'd say when it comes down to
personal remarks.
You see,
hitting below the belt is obviously not appreciated, at least from respectable families. But then there are people who need to sort of understand also that there's a line to draw, and you should not cross that line, and you should not sort of cross that border to sort of insult and degrade someone.
And not just at the provincial, we've heard this in our National Assembly as well. We've heard personal remarks being made about women's appearances and their mannerisms, and it's absolutely uncalled for.
It is uncalled for, and I think People's Party is one party where we do respect women, and we try not to sort of degrade them. In fact, People's Party is one liberal party who has always encouraged women in the role of politics. I mean, look at the example. Prime Minister Mohtarama Shahid Benazir Bhutto, first Prime Minister in the Muslim world. And then look at the Speaker. We nominated a Speaker, Deputy Speaker, Foreign Minister. Look at the recent Leader of the Opposition, Sherry Rahman. So People's Party has always encouraged and respected women in the role of politics.
Okay.
And
I also want to move beyond party politics, because another thing that I want to ask you, I'm not a politician, I interview politicians, but that's about it. So Senator Sitara, tell me this. I still feel predominantly in our political parties, and I'm not going to name any one, some are better than the others. I still feel there's a very strong hold which the men have in general. Women are there, like Maiza said, they'll do the canvassing, they are consulted, but the ultimate decision maker is sitting there. The vast majority of the decision makers in the political parties are men.
It's true. I think that I must say that this is true. And But again, if I talk about my party, it's a bit different.
I'm just talking in
But
general. Don't you
generally,
feel
yes,
across the board?
generally, even in my party also, as I said, that it is different. But still, I must say that, yes, it is true. But again, I'm a very positive person. So
You're
I
positive,
always
you feel that
think,
with time.
yes, it depends on us also. That how and we should, like, we struggled as Senator Nuza said, we struggled a lot. They are coming, they are struggling. So I think that for the other generation, when they are coming, it will be easier for them. We are trying in our own parties, we are struggling, and again, when you are working and when you love your work, it gives you a space for a decision maker. As now I am in my party, I'm in the think tank. I was, like right now we are in a process of internal election. I was in a think tank, and they do give importance
But
to
it's
our
not as much as it should be. There is a lot of space.
Yes, we need
Yes,
more.
please.
We need, yes.
That's
We
Second
need.
her on the fact, or what she said earlier, that women are the ones who actually bring in more business to the house. It is because of the women that the quorum of the house is complete. If the women were not there, God knows
But
what.
then shouldn't they also be getting equality when it comes to making the real decisions in a party? Right
we
now,
have to struggle.
For that we have to
We
struggle.
have to struggle.
I think we have to raise our voice
We
for such
have to
issues.
Yes.
And
within
yes, to
our
make
parties.
space, we need to raise our voice. And I think
To
it's-
balance
it's-
it out,
But
I
again,
think.
I feel that it is the
It is
difference. Yeah,
changing.
it is changing. And in our party also, the women are there in the
No, I've
top
seen in your
positions, but
I've seen in your party
Yes.
recently in the last 5 years. I've
Yes,
seen
there's
more
a-
women emerging,
Yes,
and it's a
yes.
very positive thing
Very
to
positive
see.
thing,
Because
absolutely.
you know it's encouraging for the young girls who are here and who are watching the show. I'd like to actually open up the
Sure,
questions.
My question is addressed to all of you, and it's that we have approximately 49% women in Pakistan as part of our population, and the 50% are men. And most of the women, some of them especially in rural areas, they're not allowed to work, they're not allowed to leave their homes. For example, in Kohistan, they're not allowed to even get educated. And Pakistan, as being a country, we produce most of the doctors, they're women, not men. So we have more female doctors as compared to men. But most of them, once they get married, they stop practicing as doctors. So how do we empower women who never get to go to universities or schools or
Or
colleges?
who even if they've gone to universities and gotten the degree are
Yes.
not able to practice
working.
it.
Exactly, they go home and they're
Okay.
not allowed to leave their homes or practice their degree or
Okay,
their field.
I got
So
it.
how do we empower them, and how do we educate them and push them to actually get out and do what they actually want to do?
Okay. How do you
I-
how do you empower them? Because they've gotten. She's
Yes,
talking about
yeah,
two things:
she's-
A, the
she's saying-
access.
yeah.
B, even once they've gotten the education, this
Yes.
idea of not allowed. Where
Yes.
does not allowed
That
to
means
not
that
work
once they
come
get
from?
married, the husbands don't allow them to work, right? That's
Right,
what Manur is
exactly.
saying. Manur, but I think that's a mindset that needs to be changed, right? Men need to be told that, you know, if a wife is professional and she has a degree and she can work and earn money, these days, these times are challenging now. Both husband and wife have to put in an effort to, you know, for a certain standard of lifestyle
give
that
their
you have,
children a
to
better
Yes, to
education,
give their
better
children
health.
a better, you know, education. So that is a must.
But
So I
how do we
believe-
change that? It's
yeah,
the
but
mindset.
it's a mindset of the.
I'll
the
tell you, I
and
have an
it's
idea.
In certain areas, no, it's not all over, because generally now we see women working, and we see women in all fields of life. I was in Karachi recently I went to the National Institute of Oceanography. There were women scientists there. I was so amazed to see them, because you know you see them in all walks of life. Things are changing now.
But this concept of not allowed, Nida, I will come to you, but
Yes.
the way at least all of you can change it, you're too young to be mother-in-laws. One day you probably will be, but you are old enough that you are sisters to brothers.
Yes.
And you have extended family. So when they have this conversation about their wives working or not working or not being allowed to work, you could always encourage the side of the woman and say, you know what, to your brother or to your cousins, please, you know what, this is her fundamental right. Don't
And
take it
let
away
them
from
do
her.
it,
Yes, Nida, you wanted to.
Shmaisa, I think education is the basic key. If a woman in the house is educated, that means the future generation is going to turn out into future leaders.
Right.
All right. Now the mindset is tremendously changing over the years. There are a lot of women out there in the various fields, be it at a multinational level, all right, or in politics or any
But I think a question
every
is, why
field.
should she have to seek permission to work?
I don't think so. You see, you need to raise your
mean,
voice.
really?
It is a fundamental right. It is a fundamental right
Would you like? I would like
to
yes. Natasha.
work, and I don't think so. Men should have any kind of an inferior.
Inferiority complex just
exactly,
because-
just because a woman out there is going out there and is capable enough to
But
be
what are the
independent
other men going to
and
say?
maybe
Can you not
capable
afford
enough to
to
even
take care
earn
of
more
your
money than the
wife
men.
that she has to actually go out there and work. The mindset has to
The
change.
mindset
Right.
definitely has
Yes,
to change.
It's
Senator.
actually, when we are talking about education, like we need more education, it's not literacy. Actually, education is something different. Educated mothers we need, because to change the mindset, it's not only literacy like a master degree holder or a bachelor or whatever, PhDs. It's a mindset of women also, because you were talking about Khoistan. I belong to Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Things are changing very slowly, and I think we are moving towards sustainability. The change which you think that immediately it will come, it is not sustainable
But that
at all.
doesn't mean that you don't ask.
No, let me come to that point. When our mothers, like in our houses, our mothers, when they are giving preference to a male, to a son or to a brother, automatically then it is not they for their wives, and then for even for the daughters sometimes, they are behaving the same way out there. So it is the mothers, like when we are giving education, it's education. Education means even in our religion. In Islam, why they give more like importance to a mother? We said male and women, men and women, and we always translated it that men are superior than women. It is not. In Quran, if we are going, women are more like as a mother. Why as a mother? Because the mother is the one who is going to make this whole society, the men. So the mindset, we, the women, we have to change the mindset. Mindset. It's a very big responsibility.
Can I just
It's a-
add
Yes,
to what
please.
Banu, this is change. Girls from Khoistan are into medicine, they're becoming doctors. That's also a positive
things are
change.
changing.
So the change will come.
The change will come, but also I
Yes.
think that girls need to know that it's okay to tell your parents, I want an education. It's okay to tell them that I would like to go out and
It's
work.
okay to voice out your
It's okay
feelings.
to voice out your feelings, you know, and it's okay to want to attain and to achieve.
It's not a question, maybe I just want to contribute in the discussion that it's not only about men who do not allow the women, it's about the willingness of women as well. What I've observed is the lack of willingness in women, because women themselves, because if everyone starts to observe from the family. If I see my family, then my uncles are fully willing to allow their ladies to go and work out. But the ladies themselves are not willing, because they do not feel confident enough to go out and to talk and to, feel themselves capable enough to survive in the outer world. Because maybe the social construction is like this in the backward areas, in some cities, that women do not feel secure out. So what should be the mechanism of that? That even if the household members do allow women, but women themselves are not willing to.
How do you empower them, give them
yes,
the confidence?
absolutely.
That's
I think we need to give them a conducive environment
it's
for anybody
environment,
to
true.
work. You need to give them the environment to work. You need to give them the atmosphere that is needed. Women should be encouraged if they've gone through education, and if they've done all that and they want to work. We as governments also, we need to give them the environment. That's the first basic step that we need to do.
We have some legislation, we did some legislation. The only thing is that now it's the government to implement. Once they have this thing in mind that if God forbid anything happened to them, there is a law. And under that law, the people will be punished. Actually, the
And they can
punishment for
rely
the
on the law.
environment, it's the
It's
whole
environment. Can I just add also,
environment.
you said
Yes.
it's not going to be political, but just let me mention Punjab, because a lot of work has been done in Punjab. We have this amazing place, Violence Against Women Center in Multan, which I have visited. Under one roof, it's a state-of-the-art institution that they have there. It's to provide legislation. It's to provide them medical legal help. It's about 3,000 women have been, have benefited from that.
7,000.
Anybody,
7,000?
7,000. Whoever is distressed can go there and can get the legal help and can get it's a shelter home also. And other countries are wanting this kind of a setup in their countries also. So it's one of a kind. It's we need to give them that kind of a place. God forbid it shouldn't happen. First of all, these kind of things should stop and should not be encouraged.
And there should be
But
absolutely no tolerance
yes,
for this. This is something I tell everybody, that violence or abuse in
Yes.
any form, emotional, physical, is not okay.
One
Yes.
thing I
On
would
that
like
note-
to add to that.
Yes.
What she said is that I agree that there are some, but they're scared of going out because of the cultural, actually mostly it is cultural. Like if you go to interior Sindh, it's totally different. Punjab is different. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa is different. Everywhere it is different. But we now, again, I must say that it is now changing. Maybe because of media, it's everywhere. So things are changing. Again, I'll give the example of Kohistan or Kala Dhaka, which is in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Now the girls are coming out and they're going to school. Before, like some 5 to 6 years back, there was like 0 at the matric level, the girls.
Okay, and now?
Now
it's increasing.
It is increasing. So things are increasing. But one thing I would like, from my own experience, I want to share that with them. That is that when we are coming out everywhere, not only in Pakistan, I think in the West also, if a woman is going out for work or for education and for everything, we should also have our own limits. When you have a limits of that, very few.
But that limit
artists-
should be predetermined by the woman, not
by the women.
By the women.
By the women. Like
Yes.
we are working. I am from a very, very conservative area. Though my family is not, but the whole area was and it is. But I never ever felt at that time when I was young, I was not married, I never felt any threatening things from any of my male colleagues. I used to work before before getting married. So that is the thing which we need from
But that
our
also depends,
girls.
it's also up to our society then to provide that environment. There was another question.
I would like to add over here also
Okay.
that Sindh has done a lot of pro-women legislation also. All right, there's anti-acid legislation, domestic violence legislation, early child marriage legislation. All right, and I think there are issues in the society. Yes, we have to go beyond.
Society, we have to move forward.
We
and the
have to
mindset
move
has
forward,
change.
and educating girls is something that
Educating girls about their rights
yes
is very important.
Is very
Yes, please.
important.
As you said, that there is more than 52% of women representation in our society. So why we always seen that there is a proper, you can say that there is a prominent difference in representing, while representing women in politics. For example, as we have seen that there is a complete, for example, when media are different channel representing women politician, then there is a word that this is a politician and this is a woman politician. For example, these two terms are usually contradicting and a sort of discouraging for viewers that are that used to see them in the and used to idolize those women or the politicians. And my next question is from Senator Nida that.
She's
how
an MPA, but that's okay.
Okay, sorry.
I'm sure
that
she'll take it as a compliment in the years to come.
So, ma'am, how to deal with those critiques in our society when we stand for feminism, or when we agree with the different waves of feminism, because they said that this is against our religion, or when they said that this is against the norms of our society. So, how to deal with those critiques?
Where you said that on TV programs they say that this is a politician and this is a women politician.
We generally don't say
Generally
that, though.
don't.
We
I haven't
generally
heard
don't.
that, But let me just, it sort of relates to what you've asked. Believe in yourself first, okay? So let the other person know who you are. Where Satara was saying that, you know, that we need to be confident. Then only the other person will get the message. You have to tell them who you are, how much space you are giving them. That's your prerogative, and you need to be confident about it. Then see what they do and how they behave. They will behave. So just believe in yourself first. Be confident, and then you see you'll take on the world. Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Thank
Nida,
you.
the question about feminism.
Feminism.
Why feminism is about equality, and I don't think people understand that. This girl is asking the same question. When you talk about feminism, it's against your religion, or it's against
Why is
cultural
it against our
norms.
religion? I think, like in Quran also, we have equal rights, don't we?
Yes, we
We
do.
do have equal rights, and I think it's just about raising the issue and being very steadfast on your beliefs. If you're a firm believer in yourself, then I don't think so. Then there
But
should
what
be.
do you say to people who will just be, oh my God, she's off on her feminist, you know, rant again? It's such a common thing to hear, and it is so disturbing to hear when somebody says that.
Well, I think it's a mindset that needs to be changed.
The mindset.
Yeah.
And
They
how
need
should the women respond when someone says that? Oh my God, are you a feminist? As though it's almost like an insult. Are you a feminist?
I just
Yes,
like to
Maiza.
add some things like
Please do.
It's how what I mean. Let your work speak for you, and then and particularly the question that you know, I think that a lot of women, as far as rural women are concerned, they're working. They're just not acknowledged in the
You're so
and
right.
recognized. They work in the farms. They work in the factories. They work as domestic workers. We don't recognize them. We don't acknowledge them. But nevertheless, they are earning for their households. And I believe that it is the economic empowerment that we need to, you know, empower our women with, so that, you know, they have a decision-making role in their houses, particularly as far as they're raising their children is concerned, sending them to the right schools, or major decisions in the life of both
Why
the
do you
husband and
generally
wife.
feel that it's not a
but
mutual decision?
I
Why
just-
is it that, even though I've seen this, and she's absolutely right, you will see in the rural area especially, women are working on the fields, they're raising the kids, they're doing the domestic work at home. They are working members, but when it comes to the decision making, it's the man.
So
How
that's
do you
where
empower
I
them?
feel that, you know, it is very important for girls, right, these days, to get education, get their degrees and get into their practical professional life, so that they earn their own money. That is very
So that they
important.
don't have to
Literally, they
depend
should earn.
on
So
somebody
if you earn your money and you're bringing money to your own house, as far as, you know, after your marriage is concerned, you know, they will involve you in decision making. And I don't think there's any reason to be discouraged. The more you work, the more you bring in your the money. I think it's all about the economic empowerment.
So what you're recommending is that all of these
but
girls
you know,
should-
unfortunately, the girls in our generation were raised as very docile,
That's
to
true.
be very docile, and to be very, you know, to be smiling all the time. As far as, you know, when they get married, you know, they should be, you know, pleasing the in-laws
Yes,
and everything.
Dominated
I
by
think
the men.
Dominated by the men.
It is. I think it is all cultural.
but in Pakistan, you know, things are changing. You know, you need to balance the two. You know, we have our moral and cultural values also, and we have to bring in the economic empowerment.
But
so we
you
don't
can
really
be
have to
empowered
very
and be respectful. They're not exclusive.
I think that's the basic training that we get from home.
Yes.
You know, from our parents. It's the tolerance, it's the, you know, the iqdar, and as they say, and the values that they say. We get that from our parents.
No, but I'll tell you,
and
I
that you
mean-
carry forward in your life.
But
and
I think
you-
that same training should also be given to men, Senator, because, you know, I remember when, you're right, in our
Yes.
generation we were being raised, well, you should be more patient. You should learn to give in. And I used to always say, well, I have 3
Compromise,
brothers.
compromise.
Why don't you tell them to do the same thing?
Yes.
You know, and now
always
I
say-
have a teenager,
I
and I
always say-
always tell her,
yeah.
listen, you don't need to give in all the time, only when you're
Yeah,
wrong.
I always say my mother gave me the values, and my mother-in-law, I used to ask her for anything that was difficult in politics, and I used to say, Ammi, how do I do this? And she used to say, have a big heart. And at that time, I couldn't believe what did she mean by that. But later on, as you grow, you mature, having a big heart really helps. You know, giving the space to others really helps, and it becomes easier.
But I think
this
that mothers
is
should
a way
also
of
train
life.
their sons that way.
Yes.
You need a big heart.
You need to have a
It's
big
the
heart.
mindset.
You know, son versus girl. son versus daughters. Now it's up to the mother how she wants to sort of train. Like, you know, why should I give a preference to my son, whereas I can give equal preference to my daughters? So I will always encourage my daughters to move forward in life and be that stepping stool as compared to my son, because why should we discriminate? There should not be any discrimination.
And another factor is that I think children of working women, you know, are generally, the studies show, they're actually more confident. They actually do better in life. But again, I have a lot of respect for women who choose to stay at home as well, because, you know, again, it's a choice for all of you. If you want to go out there and work,
and
that's
it should be a choice for everyone.
The choice to do the right and the wrong.
No, and this again, I'll come that this choice is from our religion. Like if you go to Hazrat Khadija was a businesswoman.
She was.
And then if you look to a hadith, the Hazrat Aisha hadith are the
actually even went to
Mustanad
battle.
hadith. She was a woman too, but it is basically cultural, more cultural.
It's a mindset.
And mindset.
And across the
And
board.
but one thing, we do love our values also.
But our values are
yes.
beautiful. Our
Yes.
values are beautiful, but I think that they should be equality and we should be okay with it.
I think, Shamesa, I'd just like to add that the young girls these days, because, you know, they're growing population of young girls, they need to come into politics, they need to take more interest in politics so that, you know, they shouldn't blame the earlier generation
leave a gap.
for the decision making. You know, they should be equally involved in politics so that, you know, major decisions as far as women are concerned, as far as Pakistan is concerned, they should be contributing, and they should not be thinking, you know, this is an area where, you know, it's taboo to go, or we won't be allowed to go. You know, it's one profession that, you know, women are needed most.
We always talk about the support of men in our life, and we demand that too. But my question is that being a woman, how much it is important and it is needed to empower each other first, whether in families or at working place. So how you see that?
I think it's a very critical question. I mean, as far as I would completely agree with you. I think it's very important for our families to stand by us, but women empowering other women. And as you can see, the answer to your question is in the panel here. They're from different political parties. But when it comes to each other and women's issues, they just said the legislation, they're all on the same page.
Yeah.
Not just women's legislation, but legislation in general. So it is very critically important that you, even amongst your peers, you facilitate and help each other. Nida, you would like to add to that?
Well,
Women empowering other women.
Well, women empowering other women is very important because, like we already talked about it, that we in our household, we need to sort of take part in the decision making, okay, because that's very important. And you see, I come from a very different background. Because I have always been a very independent girl, I've worked all my life, and I don't have to sort of seek help or ask for help. Yes, the men in my life do support, but empowering other women, our party, okay, this flagship project, I don't really want to go political, but then again, this Benazir Income Support Program has helped a lot of women in rural areas to sort of empower themselves and be able to make choices according to their own needs.
Okay. Maisa, you had mentioned that you want other young girls, there's a lot of space, you said, for young girls to enter politics, and they are needed. How would they, for all the girls who are sitting here and for everybody else who's watching, how would they go about doing this?
I think this question should be asked from Nizita.
Okay, I will ask you then.
Just become a member of TMLN. Love you all. And
Or
I
any
think
political
you're all
party that
inspiring.
you want, any political party that you
just
want
become
to.
a member and take a start from there. So sky is the limit, as I said earlier. There's a lot of space. Everybody can join in, and you can. And it's. I usually encourage my women. I say that we need to work in the communities,
Okay.
because the only way to rise is when you're working in the communities, when you're helping other women, when you're supporting them, either by skills or either by by any other method, that they they can get to earn something. Like in Kohistan, they were saying that there are women there. It's like areas like these also where we need to give them the support, where the women can be empowered. It can be because of that also. And let me share with you, in the United States, there's a Women Helping Women in Politics. They have Emily's List, where they get together, and they started by having a cup of coffee, you know, over a cup of coffee they started doing that, and they started encouraging other women who did not have the finances. They were supporting them. And that's how they came into
But
politics.
the first step is
but
to
I
sign
think
on.
That's like a dream.
But it's okay.
Here,
start
I don't know
off
it'll
by-
happen, but something
Perhaps
like
if
this
you started,
can. Yes,
I'm sure
something like this can happen.
all of you could.
So we need to encourage them.
First of all, I want to get you back to the predetermined limits that you said were set on women. Traditional image and setup, middle class definition of marriage standards, harassment and women participation, and intrusive blames often referred to as gender disparity. And then comes the global standard of climate change when it comes to survival for women. How will women of today will shape such character as a noble lady?
Actually,
All
what
put into one.
she is asking, these are the questions when generally people are asking. And as you said that noble women limit, the limit, again I must say that every place has a different culture. When you go to different places, they have a different culture and they have their own, in the beginning I said that limit for women. They have their own, like my father used to tell us, he never explained that what the limits are, but he always used to tell us that, okay, be confident, go to school. He was the one, like he brought us to Peshawar only to educate us, the girls only. So he never explained the limits, but we knew because of our local culture, what the culture is. We normally, what I heard, and I've worked in on women issues a lot, and work with some women organizations also. And sometimes they were so much against me when I used to talk on the issues of this cultural issues and then changing that. Earlier I spoke on sustainability also. You are the one who, according when you are coming out for education or to go to universities and college, you are the one that you have to draw your limit, what your limits are. And the men automatically you have to educate. This is the responsibility. It's fortunate or unfortunate, I don't know.
Unfortunate, I would
Yes,
think. I think the
but
men should have
this
been
is-
educated by
yeah.
their families and their
No,
mothers and their
who
schools.
educate by whom? By a woman.
By a woman.
Yes.
Who tells them to respect women.
Yes. So the limit, the mindset, it's all us that we have to. This is unfortunate, but we have to. This is the responsibility. And it's everywhere. It is not only in Pakistan. It is everywhere. It's you that you have to change. I can go back in early 90s. Nuzia Appa is here. It was totally different for a woman to come out and work. I used to drive to my college, and I was the only one, I think very few women that they used to drive a car. But that is the changing phase-wise, a very slow changing. So for you now, the environment is very good, I must say, that what we face.
Relatively better.
Relatively,
compared to.
but that is you, that you will be bringing. And a noble woman, that is again you.
That is you.
you
That is
have to
inside you.
decide.
And I-
Me have to
Yes,
decide
yes.
that what.
I'll give
Tara, I
I-
think you'll agree with me when
I'll
I
give you
tell
the final
Shumaisa
word.
that next time, Women's Day, there should be men here also.
I do. I would
Yes,
agree with you.
Because
Agree
it's
with
not
you.
only women in the society.
absolutely. It's
there
men
are
and
men
women.
also that they need to be. And I think that when we are talking about women rights and all, that is again that men should be there for the rights. Not the women should not raise a voice only for their
Oh, no,
rights.
absolutely, for everybody's rights. Feminism is about equality.
And the men should
Everybody
be
deserves
educated. The men
equality.
should be get education.
Society
yes.
should be. But thank you
Yes.
very much for having taken out the time. I'm so grateful. And thank you very much for being an absolutely amazing audience. I enjoyed the question. And for all of you who are watching, on behalf of myself and the entire team at PTV World, happy International Women's Day. Thank you for watching. See you next time.